Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Griever Productions. You've asked for it. We've done a lot of reactions to Tommy, but we've never actually done a reaction to Majestica. So here we are. So they released this one, A Story in the Night, about, I think it's 7 days ago as of recording this, so it may go up in another 7 days onto YouTube. But I'm really keen to see what these guys do. A lot of people have been saying that they are all equally as talented when it comes to the music side of things. And, I mean, this is the way that we can hear it and find out, isn't it? So before we begin, please do leave a like on the video. It really does help. In the description below, we have our merch, our Patreon, and our Discord if you would like to join in the conversations there. But without any further ado, let's have a listen to Majestica. I'm keen to have a listen to this. This is going to be good. Okay, before any vocal happens, sorry, Tommy, I don't mean to stop you mid word there. Whoa, how much power! There's so much power in this opening. I love this. I also love, as I've said many a time on this channel before, I'm a sucker for harmony, and I am a sucker for guitar harmony specifically. And my God, this sounds good. Okay, before we go into this next section, this first part has been very interesting, right? Because I can't recall in any of the covers that we've looked at of Tommy's him singing as low as this. He may have, I just can't remember off the top of my head, right? And it shows, I love it when artists will show everything that they can do, right? And this is just another facet of how and who he is as an artist. The choice is brilliant. Like, we know that he can do all these amazing high notes, right? But he's choosing to do a lot of these lower notes, and that's great.
They would face the fright of steep and height while climbing through the night. Lying there, and now it's time to go. Don't watch the glory days. Far away, the darkest days. A humble torch will light the road ahead with dissension. Far away beyond the darkest sky, you hear unleash a secret cry that tells a story in the night.
Wow. I want to point out at this point, and I know I'm stopping it a lot, and that's what we will do. We're going to keep pausing it. We're going to keep pulling things apart. Something that I absolutely adore, right, is the choices that were made for the melody of this song. They aren't what you would usually go with, which is important because it keeps things really nice and it doesn't make it sound like something that we've already heard before. And this is brilliant. Like, the way that he's that they have formulated the melody line for these verses is so good. It's so powerful. Also, this harmony is phenomenal. I need to go back and re-listen to that harmony line. That is really amazing. Hang on. Interesting. I love that. Okay, awesome, just awesome. They can all sing, can't they? Like, I assume that it's the lot of them singing. Incredible, incredible. The vocal harmony was really interesting, because it's what I imagine most bands would have done. They would have done that line with a guitar. And to change that up and do it with the vocal is something fresh and new, and I love it. I think it's phenomenal. And something that I love seeing, right, is we know that Tommy has this voice that can do absolutely anything, right? I love to see what these people do when they're writing songs for themselves, because in this, right, he may do some crazy stuff later. He may do some crazy Tommy stuff later, but from this point, it's so far been pretty, like, in a very solid part of his voice that is, like, his kind of comfortable section, right? But I think that that is to portray the story of the song, which is phenomenal. Like, I love that there's so much thought gone into this, and it's phenomenal. I love it. Okay, I feel like I'm hearing a key change about to happen, which is incredible in itself, right? I need to do something about this camera. Based upon what I just heard, right? It's clear that these guys have a very, very intricate ear for melody, because the way that those solos were done was incredible, and their tone. So they were both taking turns in doing their own solos, and the tones matched one another, which is something that I find interesting, right? Because a lot of bands that I've worked with and that I have seen, they get their guitarists to use two different tones, which I'm not going to lie, I never understood, because you're meant to sound coherent, right? And these guys, it's just enough. It's just different enough for you to hear the difference and to kind of differentiate who's playing. And yet, a lot of bands have that thing of no, we've got to have the two guitarists sounding completely different. It's just something that I've never understood. But these guys, their ear for harmony their ear for melody rather in this particular case is so good. The choices that they made, those guitar solos, you can tell that both of them are on the same wavelength, right? That both of them have a very similar skill level when it comes to music itself, because they were making very similar choices, but they were doing very unique things. Like, it's interesting, and I love it. It's very much like how I've gone on with vocal, right? When there's either a duet or that trio that Dimash did with that Ada and Lara Fabian, because I went on in that video about finding vocalists that blend well together, and in those cases they had three very different voices, but they worked so well together. Now in this case, they've got two very similar voices and work so well together, but instead of it being voices, it's guitar. Like, it's interesting how musically it translates, is what I'm trying to say. I know this was a bit of a long-winded explanation for that, but it is amazing how it translates, because the way that they were picking the melodies and what they were going to play, it was just perfect. None of it is what I would have... like, if I was in the writer's room, right, I would not have thought of what they're doing, and what they're doing is far better than what I would have picked. They're phenomenal. Okay, how cool was that? Wow. Wow. Okay, look, where do I go with final thoughts for that? As I mentioned, their use of melody and their understanding of how melody works is phenomenal. The way that they were able to just sing and play and all of that. Like, I haven't said this much on the channel recently, right? There were a few songs, especially early on, when I'd gotten back into doing these reaction videos, that I said the songs themselves are what I would put on a playlist to fight a god, right? This is one of the ones that would be in the top 5 of that, for sure. Very close, maybe in the top 3. Like, it is powerful, especially right at the end when you've got that kind of, like, driving vocal. Let me go back a little bit here. This. That's powerful, man. Like, genuinely, that is so powerful. I'm absolutely going to be looking at more of the whole band. Oh my god, this has actually blown my mind. Genuinely, I'm very much in the mindset of this has muddied my brain entirely, and it's still very early in the day. So I don't know how the rest of the day is going to go, but this was terrific. I adore this. I think this was brilliant. Tommy did a fantastic job as always. The rest of the band members were incredible musicians and vocalists too. They can sing. Like, oh my god, the harmony work that they did. God. And that's a thing too. Something that I've had conversations with, conversations about, rather. A lot of people will say to me, oh, you can teach somebody to do harmonies pretty quickly. It's pretty easy. It's absolutely not. Get that out of your head. In order to do harmonies and in order to sing harmonies, you need to have a very solid knowledge of how the voice works. You need to be as skilled as the lead singer in a lot of cases. Not always, but in a lot of cases you need to be as skilled, because it's easier to pick a melody than it is to pick a harmony, right? And sure, somebody can go, here's the sheet music, but then you've got to read it. You've got to know how to read that sheet music in order to sight sing it. There's a lot to it. I'm going to throw this camera out. I don't have the money to buy another one, but I need to throw this camera out. But yeah, honestly, not much else to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like or favorite if you enjoyed. Subscribe, do all that sort of thing. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.